Welcome back to Glen's Aussie Barbecue. Today we are doing beef cheeks, or in this case beef cheek, because I'm only doing one. Times are tight, got to cut down somewhere. So first of all I'm going to bury one of my fire lighters in there. Oh, for fuck's sake, fire starters in there. I'll get that right one day. And I've got a couple of pieces of hickory which I'm going to throw in there as well. Now that's done, we'll fire up our fire starter. Excuse the chicken in the background, that's tomorrow night's dinner. I'll let that burn for a few minutes and I'll come back. Now the flame's cruising along now, I'm just going to pop another bit of charcoal there, put it in my rack. Now this is not the rack you will get with your Joe Jr. This is your standard rack, which you will all already have, obviously. I just made that up because I had some steel in the garage and I felt like doing something. So I made up a little rack and we drop our deflector plate in like so. Now you would have yours in the lower position on your Kamado Joe Jr. rack. Then with the grill, now I'm going to close the dome and I'll open the vents fully. We're going to stabilize this at around 150 Celsius today. That's the cooking temperature we are going for today. So while our Kamado is getting up to temp, let's have a look at our beef cheek. Now, this has come pretty well perfectly trimmed up as it is. One little bit of fat of the silver skin shit here, but I'm going to take that off in a minute and then we'll start seasoning. That is going to be gelatinous goodness. Oh my goodness. Now for those of you who are thinking, was that really worth it? The answer was no, it wasn't. Alright, I'm going to hit this beef cheek with a bit of salt because the rub I'm using today, for me, it's a rub I'm working on and it's lacking a bit of salt at the moment. Now I'm just going to hit it with my favourite rub, well, hit it with your favourite rub. This is a rub I'm still working on, so it's becoming my favourite rub. Give it a good hit. Don't be afraid to give it too much. I'll let that sit now and sweat and we'll come back in around 15 minutes, then we'll flip it over and do the other side. Now that's had time to adhere, we'll just flip it over and do the same process. Okay, so now that's done, I'm going to let that sweat. Put it on a plate, cover it with some cling wrap or glad wrap, depending on which country you come from, and we'll leave that in there till it's time to go in the smoker. Cruising along now at 150 Celsius, which is exactly where I want to be. I'll pop this beef cheek in on the grill. I'm going to come back in around 3 hours time and make sure that that crust is formed. Now we are just over 2 hours down, still running along at 150 Celsius. And I checked this beef cheek and it's got a beautiful bark. So now we're going to do the next stage. I'm going to pop it in a little alcohol tray like so. And I'm going to soak it in Bundaberg ginger beer. Now this is probably Australia's finest export. Definitely better than Foster's. And I believe you can get it in America now. So, what's stopping you? I'm going to put it all over the beef cheek. Oh, I'm going to fill it probably around 3/4 of the way. Now I know there's going to be people out there screaming right now saying, "What the hell are you doing, you stupid Aussie bastard?" But that's okay. Just wait. Cover that in foil now. This is the part where people are going to be screaming. This really is the lazy man's beef cheek, and I can tell you right now that I'm a lazy man. I'm going to come back in a couple of hours time, just have another look at that. I'll let that braise away there for another 2 hours. So we are 2 hours down in this second stage of the cook. So let's just have a quick look at this beef cheek. Alright, just going to give it a feel. Certainly feels like a beef cheek. Now I'm just going to flip it. I'm just going to turn it over. Just like that. And I'm going to oh yes, that's hot. I'm going to cover it back up, let it go for another hour, and I'll come back and check it. Now that's been another hour. Total of 3 hours in the braise and 2 hours smoke at 150 Celsius. Have another look at this now. Oh, damn. I don't even need to put a probe in that. I just know that that is beautiful. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it one more time, just because there's no law against it. I'm going to cover it back up with foil. I'm then going to wrap a couple of towels around it, still in the juice, in the esky for an hour. Then I'm going to come out and do the next step. It's been around 45 minutes now. Just about to do the last step now. Please excuse this bit of meat here. This is a hanger steak for dinner tonight. I'm running out of time, so it's very unprofessional, but it's on there now, getting some reverse action going on. So now I'm just going to put my beef cheek back on the grill for around 15 minutes, just to tighten up that bark a little bit. And then we're gonna slice into it. Oh man, those beef cheeks were absolutely melt in your mouth. Now I've used ginger beer on a few things. Beef ribs, beef cheeks, shit tons of scotch. But you don't have to use ginger beer. You can use stout, you can use red wine, you can use Coke, you can use whatever you want. Play around with it, have some fun. Don't let anyone tell you what you can and can't do in barbecue. Barbecue's about having fun, eating good food, and drinking along the way. Thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe. Catch you next time. And we're popping out a flatted plate like so. Now you would have yours in the lower position. Now for those of you who thought that really hardly. Now for those of you at home, okay, so now I'm going to let that adhere again. Put it on a plate. Cover it some. Okay, so now I'm going to let that adhere. Okay, so now that's. Okay, so now I'm going to let that adhere. Fuck me dead. Okay, so now I'm going to let that. Oh, fucking drunk. This is what happens when you don't drink. Okay, so now I'm going to let that. Oh, Jesus, fuck. Fuck. Down. Oh. Okay, so now I'm going to let. Okay, so now I'm going to let that adhere a little bit. Oh, fuck. Alright. Come back when it's time to put it on the Kamado. Okay, so now that's done, I'm going to come back around 3 hours time and fuck off.